Welcome back to a brand new Ashe design tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to use our display templates so that you can show customers what their cards are going to look like without having to print them and physically have them if you don't have time or don't have a place to get them printed. This is a great way to show them what their cards are going to look like. You can see I have downloaded the display template from Ashe Design right here, and this will be the inside of my card right here, and then this will be the front of my card and the back of the card, so that a customer could see what everything looks like. Now I'm going to warn you that these templates are slightly more complicated than our regular templates where you just insert the images. So if you're not familiar with Photoshop and using Photoshop layers, this might be a little bit more difficult. I am going to walk you through step by step, so hopefully anybody will be able to do this without too much trouble. We're going to start right over here in the layers palette, and as you can see I've got one layer out here, my text layer, which is just the press printed cards down there, and then right here is the folded flat 326 high, and inside that folder these are all of the different layers that we're going to use today. And as you can see, if I'm confused about what they are, they're named pretty well, front and back, so I have a pretty good idea. But I always just can turn those off too if I'm confused about which ones those are. So that's the front of the card. And I actually like to turn that layer off to get started so that I line everything up. We'll do the inside of the card first, and this way I can just see the entire inside of the card. Now I've also opened up in Photoshop my card, and so this is a Be Merry card from Ashe Design. And this is a large file because it's a print file, but we're just going to use a small image over in our web display. So as you can see, this folder was named Flat 326 High, and that's to tell us how big we want this image. So the very first thing we're going to do with our card file is resize it. So we'll just go to Image and Image Size, and we'll just change this to 326 high and hit OK. And you can see that makes it a little small in there, so I'll just open that back up, and I'm going to change this to 100% so I can see the card. And then if you'll remember, over here on my display card, the left and the right are folded and it has dimension there. So we're going to have to work with the left side and the right side separately. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out this right side and just use that. So there's a couple of ways that we can do that. You could crop it. We can also just use this rectangular marquee, and I'm going to use these blue guidelines, and I'm going to start on my middle guideline. Nope, I'm going to get up here higher so I get the whole thing. I'm going to start on my middle guideline, and I'm going to select everything on this side, and then I'm going to come back and get my little pointer tool, and then I'm just going to drag this across to my layers over here. Now I didn't select my inside right layer before I left this page, so in this case I'm going to have to drag my layer down so it's right over my inside right, because that's where I want it to be. And then I'm going to clip those together just as I would do in any of our templates using the clipping mask. And so if you need help with clipping masks, you can look up that tutorial, but I just hit the Option key on my Mac, I get my little double circles there, and then it clips it right inside that right side layer. And once I do that, you can see anything that's outside of the black is just cut off. And so that would be the closest lined up I can be, but as you can see, we have some distortion in this to show the depth of the card, and we want to utilize all of that. So your next step is to change the size of this file up to 200 so we can get in nice and close and see all those edges. And I'm going to start right down here at the bottom of my card, so I'm going to get to where you can see both corners. I still have my layer 1, which is my card, selected, and I'm going to hit Apple or Control T to transform, and you can tell that that happened by these little resizing boxes that are down here. And then I'm just going to right click and hit Distort. And now what I want to do is I want to get these edges right in the corner of my card. So I'm going to move each corner of my box right to the corner of my card. So I've got the bottom. I'm going to do the top the same way, and then kind of snap to those corners, and it helps you out a little bit. Snap to that one. And then I'm just going to check these and see. This one I think can go in just a little bit. Just double check my corners, make sure that I'm lined up pretty good. This is the trickiest part of the whole thing. Once I'm pretty happy with how that looks, you're just going to hit your enter or return, and it's going to set that right there. And then I can just double click this hand, it'll take it back to where I can see the whole thing. I'm pretty happy with that look there. And then we're going to go back and get the left side of the card. So right back over here to my document, and I'm going to select, oops, clear on the outside. I'm going to select the left. Again, come back and get my pointer tool, drag it right on over to my left side. Again, I'm going to have to move my layer so it's right above my left inside, and then I just want to clip that inside there, and we're going to follow the exact same steps. I'm going to increase this to 200 so I can see in real close. I'm going to hit Apple T, Command T, Control T. I'm going to right click and distort, and then I'm going to line up my corners. I'm going to start with this corner here, and I want it right next to the other blue there. Then I'll get my bottom corner right there, and we will do the top the same way. Make sure I'm lining up right next to my other side of my card. Get this corner. Just double check those. Those look pretty good. And then just enter or return. It's going to set that. Again, I'll just double click my hand here to go back to smaller size, and you can see how that fit right in there. Now I'm ready to do my front, and if you'll remember, I turned off my front layer so that I could see all of that card, and so I'm just going to turn that back on, and this is right where we're going to stick our front. Now if I select the layer now, when I drag it over, it'll be right in the right spot, which I haven't been doing. So the other file I have open is the front and the back of my card, and I'm going to follow the exact same steps here. I'm going to start by selecting the front of my card, my pointer tool, drag it over to my, oops, I almost forgot, we have to resize it. We resized the first one, but we did not resize this one. So I'm just going to deselect everything here. I'm going to image size. Remember, we want to change it to 326 pixels high. Hit OK. That makes it small again, but I'll just change this to 100% so we can see what we're working with. And now I'm right back to where I started. We're just going to select the front, use our pointer tool, drag it over to our display. And then as you can see right here, as it brings it in, it puts it right over my front layer because I did have that selected first. And this one is super easy because I'm just going to clip it right inside there. And then this one's not distorted or anything, so it's just like our other templates. I just need to line it up inside the black there. Make sure I've got all my black covered. So there's my inside, and now I'm going to do the back the exact same way. So I'm just going to come back to my file, select the back side of my card, my pointer tool, drag it across. Now this time, once again, I didn't select the back layer, so I'm going to have to put this right above my back layer. I'm going to clip those layers together, just like I've done before, and then I'm just going to set this right where I want it. And then at that point, you're done and you have a display to be able to show your customers. You can just save it, file, save as, save a JPEG, and then you can put it on your website to show people, or you can put it as a display on your screen when you're selling cards. You can make up a couple examples for your customers to look at, and it gives them a real feel for what the card looks like. So this is what the Be Merry Christmas card would look like, and you can get both the display template and the card template on ashdesign.com.